So in this video I want to share my impressions of the Sonos ARC soundbar and Sonos One SL surround speakers. It does not include the subwoofer because I don't own a subwoofer, and it's by no means a detailed technical review or installation guide. You will find plenty of such videos on YouTube. It's more my impressions coming from another system, which you can barely call a system because that's what my TV and sound system looked like a year ago. Afterwards I upgraded to a bigger TV and an entry-level sound system, which is a Philips soundbar and sub HDL, which was at that point the cheapest one out there, and it did its job, but I struggled especially with speech in movies. So often it was difficult to understand what people were actually saying. So I decided a while ago it's time to upgrade to a new system, and I went for the Sonos ARC soundbar. Needless to say that the ARC is a significant upgrade over the Philips that I had before, both in terms of quality but of course also in pricing. We're now on the opposite side of the price range for soundbars. I will show a few measurements of that bar because it is quite huge. So the bar itself is 114 centimeters wide, which if you have a small TV might look a little weird because then your bar might actually be bigger than your TV. And also in terms of furniture. So what you see here is a typical IKEA TV stand, which is 120 centimeters. It cannot be much smaller than that because otherwise the bar simply won't fit. It's also quite wide at around 10 centimeters, but given its curving on the bottom, it's a little smaller than that. But yeah, you need some space for that bar. Sonos products connect wirelessly to your home Wi-Fi, but I had some issues which are due to my Wi-Fi, not due to Sonos, so I decided to go for a cable RJ45 instead, connected directly to my router. The cable is not included, so you might need to buy one if you want to connect your soundbar through a cable. In addition to the soundbar, I bought two Sonos One SL. SL stands for speechless, meaning it doesn't have voice recognition, which you don't really need because it's already included in your ARC. So if it's in the same room, you don't need several microphones. You can use them as standalone speakers, or in my case I use them as surround speakers, so they're standing in the back of my room. And the installation, as for all Sonos products, for my limited experience, couldn't be easier. I have an iPhone and the app guides you to everything, including calibration of your speakers. Sonos calls it TruePlay, which only works on iPhones, not on Android. Talking about surround sound, let's go through the three streaming services that I'm subscribing to in Scandinavia: Netflix, Disney Plus and HBO Nordic. Of course all of them support 5.1, meaning a center speaker, left, right, two rear speakers and a subwoofer. But there are differences when it comes to more advanced audio formats, especially Dolby Atmos. If we start with Netflix, you can easily see on their title screen for each series or movie whether or not Atmos is supported. And especially for their own productions, Atmos is supported surprisingly often. A good thing about the Sonos app is that it actually confirms you whether or not Atmos is working. You see here a screenshot when I'm playing a Netflix title that supports Atmos, and you see here below TV that it actually says Dolby Atmos, meaning it also includes the upward firing speakers in the ARC. Let's move on to Disney Plus, which gives me a disappointing result. So if you go to the detail page of the individual titles, for example Star Wars movies, the Mandalorian series and so on, Atmos is mentioned quite often. You see it here, Dolby Atmos. And also according to internet pages that I checked, they should support Atmos. But when I start the movie or series, it always gives me 5.1, no Atmos. I hope it's just a temporary issue, maybe due to bandwidth restriction or so, or maybe a regional issue that might be fixed. But so far I'm not able to watch Disney Plus with Atmos. And also my Sonos app confirms that there is no Atmos when I'm actually playing these titles. So that's a little disappointing. But it could be worse. It could be HBO Nordic, which doesn't even give you any information. But to my knowledge, HBO Nordic neither supports 4K resolution nor Dolby Atmos. It might be different with different HBO versions in other regions, but that's how it is in Scandinavia. A feature that I personally find very useful is speech enhancement. It puts more emphasis on the voice frequencies, so when the actors are speaking, which really benefits me when, as a non-native English speaker, watching English movies, English TV series, where under my old system, the Philips, often it was difficult to understand what people were saying because the sound was a little muffled. Here, together with your overall quality of the ARC plus speech enhancement, it's very easy to understand foreign dialogues, so a feature that I'm using quite often. The other one is night sound, which is not the same as loudness. So loudness, what you have on sound systems, would boost your low and your high frequencies. Night sound more or less caps the extreme loud sounds. So if you're watching late at night, an action movie with explosions and so on, it keeps the overall sound level more under control. The last thing I want to do is to give you an actual short sound impression of what the ARC sounds like. Of course, I'm aware that filming Dolby Atmos sound with my iPhone doesn't even come close to the real experience. I mean, my iPhone cannot really process it anyway. But you are watching a video about the sound bar, so I want to give you some sound, even though of course the result is a little random and not representative what it sounds in reality.
The start of winter. Vast expanses of the planet begin to freeze. Every night grows longer. But now, with new technology, we can see into this darkness. And reveal secret lives within. As animals battle to survive the coldest and longest nights on Earth.
So what are my overall thoughts on the Sonos ARC and the One SL? So first of all, when it comes to supported standards like the Atmos that I mentioned, it's a little more complicated than I tried to illustrate in this short video. It also depends on what kind of connection you have to have an ARC, eARC, streaming quality, does it come through a Blu-ray player and so on. There are plenty of YouTube videos out there that can explain that way better than I'm able to do. For me in practice, it doesn't really make a big difference. So if I'm watching a Disney movie that I showed you with 5.1 or Netflix with Atmos, which should include the upward firing speakers that reflect sound waves from your ceiling, so it sounds like things are happening above your head, I haven't really noticed a difference. The overall sound quality of all series and movies that support 5.1 is just amazing. It's difficult to explain that here in a YouTube video, and YouTube cannot recreate it anyway. And if I say 5.1, for me it's actually 5.0 because I don't have a subwoofer, but the bass is more than sufficient for my small apartment. And coming from that previous Philips system, or as you saw in the first picture, not having a sound system at all, of course the difference is amazing. And the only way you can experience is maybe go to a hi-fi store, check if somebody has that system. It's again difficult just to explain it. Is it worth the money? It's one of the more expensive sound bars. I haven't really anything else to compare it against except for my Philips, and of course that's not even a fair comparison. So the overall package, including the ease of installation, the app features, everything looks really well rounded. No disconnections, no reconnections required, no cabling, of course, since it's wireless. I think personally also it looks good. You can choose between white and black. So I'm very happy with it. And again, the only way to really experience is to listen to it if you have the chance before spending the money. But from me, a clear thumbs up, and hopefully that video was somehow helpful for you.